You not seeing the option to go live?
There we go. All right, hopefully everyone can hear and see me fine. Apologies for starting a couple minutes late. This is our first Q&A, lunch and learn, so wanted to give everyone a few minutes more to come in. We're at 13 right now out of 32. I did want to say though, this would be a public-facing presentation, so I know some of you had questions about working your cases if you work for the city. We will not be addressing that specifically in this session, but we can work with you later as city employees to do that. So I'm going to give people just another minute or two. My name is David Reynolds. I work for Data KC with the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And as I said, this is our lunch and learn for the new MyKCMO application and reporting system for reporting things to the city for handling. All right, so it's 12:05 and we're going to get started and respect everyone's time. Again, my name is David Reynolds from Data KC, part of the City Manager's Office with the City of Kansas City, Missouri. And this is our lunch and learn about MyKCMO, which is the new reporting app and reporting feature for getting problems to the city for handling by the city. I do want to say as a disclaimer, because of the way some people came in and asked some questions about things, it became obvious some of them were speaking from a staff perspective of handling those questions when they come in, or those problems when they come into the city. This is public facing, so this is designed to be about you as a resident going about your business and helping you understand what residents see when they submit issues to the city. So we will not be addressing staff concerns today, but we can get with you later about those things. I'm going to also be assisted here by other folks from my office, Kate Bender, Jean Ann Lawson, and Erica Good are here. I appreciate all of them. They'll be watching the Q&A chat while I talk at you, and hopefully they can answer most of the questions there. If not, they'll let me know that there's something that I need to demonstrate a little more fully. So with that said, I'm going to bring in the actual web interface that the city uses. So we say this is an app, this is a new app, it's the MyKCMO app, we talk about that a lot, but it is available in both the Apple and Android Android stores for your phone or your tablet, but also there's an interface on the city's website, kcmo.gov/talktous/MyKCMO, or you can just go to kcmo.gov/311, or from any page, you can get this 311 link, and that will bring up this selection box. So you can put in a request through this page. I'll show you the Android app a little while later. It looks very similar, but also has all the same functionality that the web form does. So if I was going to report an issue, and let's say that wanted to report a land bank property nearby me that was in disrepair, or rather I'd say something like there's been dumping on it. So I will select this issue and sub-issue. Did I witness it? Yes, I went by. Each issue and sub-issue will have different questions that tailor to that particular thing, and then go to the department, and then their hashtags. So when it comes to location, I have a couple options here. I can, if I know the actual address, I can type it in. And you'll see it narrows down and picks a address within the city, validating it as you go. But if I don't know the address, let's say it's a vacant lot, and there's no sign, there's no anything on there to tell me where it is, I can actually go in this map and say, yes, I need to draw this down to where this lot is. And you can see it's updating the address for me as I go. So it actually knows what parcel in the city I've dropped that on, and it updates the zip code, the address, and all that information. But I want to go back to this address, which I know is not a land bank, and I will close this out later so that I don't confuse them. And then down here, if I had a picture, I could add a picture to this case. Now down here, I can leave my information or not. Just like in the previous systems, you can submit anonymously. The benefit of this system, though, is if I put in my contact information in an email, I'm going to get updates on this case as it works its way through the city system. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, this is coming from me.
David, I think maybe there's some issues with people not seeing your screen.
I don't know.
Maybe try publishing it to the live event, or sharing it.
Is it back to the screen now?
I think that may have addressed it.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna restart this then, because I don't know at which point you lost me. So as I was saying, you can submit any of these issues to the city. They go directly to the department so that you can get the issue addressed as quickly as possible. So in this case, I'm going to say I have illegal dumping on a land bank property. Did I witness it? Yes, I drove by it yesterday. And here's where I was saying, I apologize, I didn't realize that you were not seeing it anymore. If I type in an address, much like on Parcel Viewer, it'll fill in the city address that matches that as I go, and eventually get down to one address that will then validate. But the other thing I can do is if I'm, say, looking at a vacant lot, it doesn't necessarily have a sign that has an address on it, but I know it's on this corner of this property, and you can see it updates to the parcel that's associated with that. And so I do want to use this address though, because it's my house and I can go cancel the address later so the land bank doesn't get confused. I can add media. This isn't trash bags, but it's close enough for the purpose we're doing here. And then down here at the bottom, what I was saying is if I put in my email on this, I'm going to get updates on this case that's worked by the city. So any staff notes that get added in MyKCMO, when the status changes, all those things are going to come to me. Now, if I don't leave this, I can actually leave every bit of this blank, and then I would have to watch for it on the parcel viewer, or depending on which department it goes with, they have some additional ways to see this. And then I hit submit. What I've gotten here is the work order number or the issue number for this case that I just put in. So now if I had left my email down there, I would get an email that says you submitted this case. It will go to the department, and I can save this for later looking up. Now, the other thing I want to show you though is we definitely want you to look at the map first before you put in a case, because if I go in to say, this area, you can see there were 2 cases submitted in this area, both of them for weed violations, both on the same day. So possibly 2 neighbors drove by, or even the same person accidentally put it in twice. And if I click on this, I can get some updates on what's going on with this property. Should be able to. There we go. So here is the question and answer. It was closed, it's resolved here. Oops. So they took care of it. And you can see that they took care of it in about 14 hours. This is a big improvement over the previous system we had. In the previous system, 311 would get a request through, if they got it through the app or through the website, it would go into a queue that they would have to answer and address each one individually. And this could take staff several hours to work through the process, and maybe even a day and a half on, say, a busy summer Monday. Now it goes directly to the department that is working with it, and they can assign it very quickly. So here's the question. They don't know exactly how many bags there are, but they should have picked up 12 bags. And I can also get a list. This is maybe not as useful, but you can see here's the one that I just submitted. So it's the newest one on the list. And if I click on that, I'll get that same information. One thing you will notice is there's no contact information listed. So all the reporter's information is private. It only goes to staff, the people who are assigned to the case. If they need to reach out to them, they can do that if they leave an email or phone number. But on none of our public-facing reports or any of that do we leave that information, primarily for safety reasons. And if we get a request for information on this case or this area, and we have to supply the 311 reports, we will redact that information because it's considered a hotline information. Okay, I've got a question here. I think it would be helpful if when going to the map only, we were able to type in an address. Yes, absolutely, Amy. That is one of the improvements that they are working on for this map. What Amy's talking about is, you saw when I wanted to go to look at my neighborhood, I have to manually drag this map around. There's no, unlike partial view, I can't type in at the top here and have it jump to that area. I have to scroll out and then go down all the way to Kansas City, big city. So, yeah. And here's the one that I reported. So you see how long that took. There's also no filters on here to say, just show me, say, the trash dumping on land banks, or just show me the water leaks. Those filters are coming to this. On the staff side, on the back end of it, we have those interfaces, but for the public looking to see, hey, has somebody reported this already? This was a pretty cumbersome process. And so that's a high priority on the contract, or the contractor's list of things to add to this map. We're also working on a way to automatically detect duplicates that says, hey, this has already been reported, that we already have a stormwater leak reported for this area. Do you really want to put in a second one? And maybe they do, and maybe they don't. And that's going to be sort of handled on a case-by-case basis. For something like neighborhood preservation, they're not going to want to have more than one case. They're going to work that address until they're done with dealing with the problems on it. But with something like potholes, there could be 3 or 4 potholes in front of an address. And so they've generally wanted to get multiple reports, and they'll deal with that as things go. But yeah, that would definitely make it easier, and it's definitely high on our priority list. GNAN has a, I think catchphrase would be the kindest way to say it in our meetings with them, basically saying that, when we get the maps working, it'll fix everything. It's not quite true, but it does make a huge difference for people. Now, if I'm a resident who's worked with the city for a long time and I want to use Parcel Viewer, now, of course, here I can and under projects at the top, I can turn on, right now we only have the code cases in here and there are no open ones, so it doesn't show any up, but here's one around the corner. And if I go to code cases over here, I'm going to see what's going on at this address. So you can see that there were 2 cases submitted, one in March and one in June. The June one was probably closed as a duplicate. The March one is still ongoing. And if I click on this, I'll get, this is again a public-facing summary of the case via Compass KC. So you can get information here like what was the complaint going on, who's the inspector, have they done inspections, et cetera, et cetera. Again, you're not going to see any contacts on here. That's private information. But one of the things we're working on adding to this map, because a lot of people are more familiar with this map, is having those MyKCMO issues show up on this map, so you can have some updates there as well. We can also send residents to open data. We definitely have people who would like to do more generalized reporting. How is the city doing on how's the city doing on potholes or things like that? And so they can get all of those information. They can download them. They can filter them. This is updated daily right now. We're hoping, again, part of that same update will be, we want to get that updating like every 10 minutes, much like the old Parcel Viewer information did. And then I'm not going to go through this whole process. That would be a whole lunch and learn by itself. But we do have all this information out here. And again, we're redacting anything from the person. We're not even putting up the complaint itself in this version, because sometimes people will put in there, I have a court case and I need an extension, and here's my case number, or here's my, sometimes they'll even put things like, here's my social security number, which obviously we don't want to put that out there in any way. So we've made some of those fields private, and this just gives you the general total, but you can get information like how long was it open, or if it's still open, it'll say how long has it been open since it started, what's the status. There are 2 numbers here, and this has been confusing for some people. MyKCMO has a native issue number. You saw earlier they were now up to the 700,000s, but different systems the city works in have their own system numbers. So like this is a water maintenance number, and if somebody calls and wants to get more information about that, they're going to want this number because they need to talk to water and find out from water what the update is. Now, again, hopefully water's putting updates into the system that'll flow back to them if they put their name in. Another option here is if it's an NPD preservation case, then they have a special case number type there as well. And that's what you saw when we went to Compass KC. They can look up that number there as well. Let's see. I already talked a little bit about the speed of response in the new way. Compared to the old, I want to pull up, I'm going to go into the back office here for just a moment because I want to show you 2 things that are not up. Because I'm not the one who reported them, I wouldn't be able to see this as a public citizen, but if I was the one who reported, they would show up in my app. One is a shout out to Solid Waste for their speed of response. This one was handled in a matter of hours, and that's totally an improvement over the old system where it might have taken 2 days just for Solid Waste to get it, and then they could answer it in an hour. But they went right out, they got this trash under the bridge taken care of. And you can see here's the kind of updates that people will see in their system. So in the back office, you'll see this, and also these updates would flow out to the resident who reported it if they ask for updates or if they put their email in. If I need to make a new share. All right, so here's an example of a case that I get email updates on. You can see over time, I've gotten more information on this. Staff puts in a note, it gets added, and this one they called back to tell more information about it. The property is becoming more of a nuisance because people are hanging out in this dangerous property or derelict property. So this is much like what I would get if I was the reporter. So now I want to add in okay, have we got any other questions come in? Before I switch gears.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I was going to show you the app itself, but it's fighting with me on having control in two different places, so I'll leave that be. If you don't have the app as a private citizen, as a resident of Kansas City, Missouri, again, we encourage you to do that because you can report things while you're out and about. You're a resident, you have the same concerns and questions about things going on in the city as anyone else, and we think this is a lot easier to use than the old way was. And some of these things will not actually put in an issue. So here's a good example. If I wanted to put in a sunshine request, the city has a different system that does that. I don't want to put an issue request in this system that then is, oh, I'm not showing you the screen yet. So here's the sunshine request issue. Now, I don't want to put something in this system. I don't want to have to put a issue into this system that then is going to be taken by a staff member, transferred to the sunshine request system, and then handled by whoever actually gets it. I want you to go and use that system that's designed for that purpose. So instead of submitting a MyKCMO issue, what it's going to do is bounce me over to the sunshine request form that's already existing. So several of the systems will do that. The court system is another one that allows people, bulky item pickup is a great example. Puts people right into the bulky item system rather than having them do double entry or staff do double entry. If someone is looking for information on reclaiming their towed vehicle, they're going to get information on that. We can customize these messages so they get a little bit of information right here before they call. And if they click through, they get more information from the tow lot. They have their hours, what you must bring, all those things are already out there on the website. We don't want to necessarily replicate that or make that something we have to keep updated in two places. So we are leveraging what the departments are already putting out there. So if you have, sorry, I'm going to speak to the people that I know are here from the city. If you have something that you are not sharing but would like to get the word out rather than dealing with by having calls or emails come in, we can certainly work with you on leveraging your information out there for putting that as part of the MyKCMO system. And at that point, I've given you the short version of how this works. Again, you'll look for it in the stores. It'll have this icon as what you're looking for to install it to your machine. The App Store looks like this. But you can see here, the interface is very similar. You're getting the same questions, the same order of operations that would happen, but you're going to see what's happened before in that case because you'll be connected to it. The other thing the app does that the web form doesn't do is I can put my information in the app, but I can still submit anonymously so that not even the city staff can see my information. But I can send notes, I can get notes on that case anonymously. So if I'm concerned about reprisal for some reason or any kind of privacy concern, I can put in an anonymous report there and then still engage and have updates on the system. And we think that's a big improvement over the old way. Now, it is still a work in progress. We have made vast improvements since the March launch of this program, and if you used it then and found it cumbersome, we encourage you to go back, use it, give it another try. Make sure that you're updated to the latest version of the app, because about monthly they do an app update that adds new functionality that sped things up. The map inside the app, for instance, was very slow for Apple users at first, and now they've solved that. So if you tried it, please try it again. If you are a user of it, please let us know where we can improve. We can just check it. We have all the questions answered there in the chat. We meet with the developer more than once a week, and anything that we hear that we can make things better for the resident experience, we pass on with vigorous encouragement. We are their largest city customer now, and so we have a fair amount of leverage with them for things that we find will improve the experience. Of course, Jean Ann and her 301 office have years of experience with getting resident questions and solving them, and so they already started with a lot of helpful suggestions for the company that then makes it a better product for all their customers. And so they've been very receptive, actually, and very as quick as they can be, we'll say, about making those updates to make things work better. So with that, I believe we've answered all the questions. Do any of my co-hosts want to say anything further? Jean Ann, do you want to say a little word about this from your perspective?
I would just say that we're trying to work to add current information into a number of different areas in the app, all of the options on the front. So if at any time you're finding it difficult to find anything, we'd like that feedback or any other information we could put on the front. We're hoping, for example, the coronavirus icon should hopefully go away maybe sometime soon. So what other programs would be helpful to have on the front of the app for residents to find information easily? For example, those other options that we could put on the front. I did just add some information on the change to leaf and brush drop-off that's going to be free for some time, and that's currently under report and issue under leaf and brush, but we'd like to try to keep that updated with current city information.
Yeah, everything we talked about today was really just these first two buttons. on the app itself. So you can go directly to paying things online, finding information, getting into Compass KC, seeing city news, getting things dealt with the court system, but also this is flexible. So when a storm happens, we do a special storm cleanup. We'll put information about that out there. Jean Ann mentioned just doing one for leaf and brush. Okay, Amy says, I've read some reviews and some comments that the map locator freezes. That was definitely more common at the beginning. It does every so often lock up or go down. And we've had some trouble with sometimes the staff side of it will go down and people can't put in any issues. Generally, they're able to fix that in a matter of minutes. Obviously, it's frustrating when it does happen, but I would say it's become much less common over time. Is there a way to refer cases? So in, this is really on the staff side, but there is a part of the, part of this process is that you can, if you get something and of course the resident took their best guess at where it goes, but they didn't do it right, you can reassign these in, staff can reassign these. And so you'll see sometimes some of the updates you'll get that residents will get will be, hey, it's gone from, we thought this was a solid waste issue, but really it's on the boulevard. So we're going to send it to Parks and Rec to clean up, something like that, because residents don't always know all the answers to where all their questions go. Residents themselves cannot reassign something. They also cannot reopen a case. So if they submit something and you close it saying that it's not the city responsibility, say it's a trash on a MoDOT right of way, for example, that's handled by the state, not us, and they can put in a note, further information about it, but they can't just reopen it and bother you about it again. Now they may submit a second one, but with education, hopefully we will cut that down. And the other thing going on there is, of course, that if we get a dumping issue, we want to know that it's not on MoDOT property. Now the map does not tell them, hey, you're looking at a highway, not a city street. It's not quite that sophisticated, but it will, let's see, the street maintenance one, I believe. I thought they said it. Gina, do you remember the one that gives the MoDOT warning?
I believe it, look under bridge.
Oh, bridges. Yep. So this is information before they can even submit something. We pop up this information and say, hey, it's state road and interstate, it's MoDOT. This is a short clip from their website. And again, this one doesn't let them go through, but they can open this up. And MoDOT has their own system for reporting concerns over there. So we try to reduce those because we want them, again, we want them to be responded to by the people who have the ability to do that. But if it is a city bridge, then it'll let them put in the information for that. Okay, Fatima says, if I wanted to look up, for example, all missed trash cases on a map, yeah, that's where you can use the open data information. So Kate actually built a map for this that shows all of them currently, but we could, you could filter this or make one that was just for missed trash cases that were open, and then you would have a map basically tailored to what you're looking for. That would automatically update as the system updates. That's one of the real benefits of open data is you can kind of play with the data and generate those lists or a map or a report that will give you that information. It's a really good question.
And David, I think, not that you have to find it, but I think that there's a couple of stories where we have maps built out that have a filter.
This is a great one. We didn't even make this. The department themselves made the one on potholes, but it is the same thing, but it's only showing, of course, that's quite a few. And this map does have the ability to say, okay, I don't see potholes, of course, aren't in my neighborhood, but up the road here, there are some. And then if I click on that, okay, it's just giving you a short pop-up that says what the status is right now. This doesn't give you the level information, but you could also, if you were looking at the data table, you could say, no, just give me the ones that are potholes that are open. Again, this is a totally separate topic, so I don't want to bear down on it, but yes, that is something we can help you with if you are not familiar with that would be a total lunch and learn all by itself working with open data.
I would say, David, too, on the website from the map that you can see on our website, when you go to the map view, we did ask the developer there. We gave them a list of 10 filters that we would like to have added on this as an option. So they're working on that. So you would be able to use a filter of the type of issue, like you said, for missed trash, so you could narrow it down. So we got 10 different things. I don't recall the timeline for getting that, but we do have that one on the list.
Yeah, this map was, originally this map didn't even exist. They've built this from scratch since we went live with it. And of course now it's available to all their customers. And we think it's a huge improvement, but also we want to tie things in with Parcel Viewer and other systems that the city uses, like Compass KC. So now when you submit a preservation case, one of the updates you get, an automatic update, is a link to the Compass KC version of that case where you can see all that information. And that's just something that's just for us, because not every city, of course, uses Compass. But we found that it provides a lot more information for them to keep up to date on what has happened. Amy says, are we still having issues with various department staff not updating cases or closing them out before they should be closed? And I'll let Jean Ann answer that one.
I have been monitoring that one a lot closer. I have 1 or 2 departments that still need some improvement, and actually just sent a report and had a meeting on that this morning. But definitely we are seeing improvements. We're also seeing improvements with the interfaces between different department work order systems. So I think that will help too as we continue to improve that.
Certain departments like solid waste for now works directly out of MyKCMO, but other departments work in their native system. And so there's an interface built between those, and the level of information that comes back and forth from one system to the other varies by interface, but they're all getting better. That's the best way to say that. Getting more information back to the complainant.
Because initially the interface was very basic. It would open and it would close. And so we were missing the work that was done or the reason why cases were being closed.
One of the real struggles with those, I think, was when people would submit a duplicate case and the department would close it, but they didn't say, we're closing this because it's a duplicate case. And the person thinks, you closed my case, the problem is still there. What's going on? Why is the city not doing anything? Well, what they didn't know is there's this whole other, like here, for example, there's 4 reports on this address. They're all resolved now, but if one of these was green, one of them was the active one, then you wouldn't necessarily have known that that was there. But we do like that now. Another improvement, of course, is that it's showing these pins on the map when you, let's see if I can pull it up. So now when I put in now I can see no one has reported this. All I have is the blue pin from my report. But if I was on this block and I was wanting to report whatever this is going on, I could see, oh no, someone's already reported that. And it's now only showing the illegal dumping in the right of way. So it's matching the pins that are left. You notice there's dozens instead of thousands now, because it's only showing me the ones that relate to what I'm trying to report. So that also is cutting down now on duplicate reports. That is the end of my talk. And I want to give people just another minute or two in case they're thinking of other questions. But also, you are welcome to reach out to us afterward. We should be sending having the recording of this available to anyone who signed up for it. And if you came in by a link but didn't register, pre-register, we will get you that another way as soon as we can. And thank you very much for your attendance today. Any last words from my team? All right, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.